Namaste viewers, welcome to Gnanadevula channel. Today we'll go through the story of one of the characters of Mahabharata. It's a story of Dushasana. The story of Dushasana, this character is filled with a lot of jealousy and downfall. Let's go through his story a little more in detail. Before we go to the main story, I request you to please like, share and then subscribe to my channel. So the story, will commence with the story. In the grand epic of the Mahabharata, there was a prince named Dushasana. Dushasana. That means a very hard to rule person. Duh means very hard. Shasana means rule. It hinted at the qualities that would define his life also. Jealousy and blind loyalty to his elder brother Duryodhana. We'll go through his birth. It was a strange, he was born in a very strange circumstance. He was born in an extraordinary way. His mother, she was a Queen Gandhari, wife of Dhritarashtra. She had been blessed with some prophet had professed that she would bear 100 sons. She conceived, and then as months turned into years, her pregnancy showed no sign of ending at all. She was all the more frustrated and envious of Kunti, who had already given birth to Yudhishthira and Bhima. Gandhari was very much angry, and then she struck her womb in despair. When she just hit hard her womb and she tried to force her pregnancy, force her delivery. To her horror, only a hard grey mass of a lump of grey mass emerged instead of a child. It was very, very pathetic for her. She was very much upset by that. But then came the sage Vyasa. He came to her help. He said, "Don't worry, I will look at this." And then he took this mass of this lump which was in her, which was got pre-delivered from her womb. He took that mass and then divided into 100 pieces. 100 pieces. He placed each piece in one pot filled with ghee, milk and so many ingredients. And whatever that was necessary for the pieces to grow, and then they could make form in the form of a human, in the form of life. These pots were sealed and they were kept buried in the earth. After 2 years, the pots were, as directed by Vyasa, the pots were opened, and when they opened the first pot, Duryodhana was born. After a month, the other 99 pots were opened, and one by one, many babies were, babies formed, and then they were removed from the pot. So by this act, Duryodhana and then his 99 brothers were born, and one daughter also followed. This Dushasana was the second who came from the second pot, and he was second eldest, that means next to Duryodhana, and devoted entirely to his elder brother Duryodhana. He was always loyal to him, Duryodhana. Duryodhana, Dushasana, they were like, pets. Dushasana, he was always with Duryodhana, and then all the qualities of Duryodhana was imbibed by Dushasana. Together, they plotted lot of schemes against their cousins, the Pandavas. Of course, under the special guidance of their cunning, very cunning and very vicious uncle Shakuni. They were driven by enmity, envy, and an unquenchable thirst for power. They wanted to stick on to the power. They wanted to be kings forever at any and every cost. Now, on one occasion, on a fateful day, Shakuni devised a very deceitful game of dice, that is juju, that is playing dice to strip the Pandavas of everything they owned. The Pandavas and Kauravas, they played this game, and Yudhishthira, being the eldest Pandava, he was drawn into the game. He was invited for the game. Since the customary practice during those days was that a king who had to play whenever somebody called for this kind of game of dice. And then he had no other choice but to yield and then play the game. But unfortunately, the Shakuni had deceitful magical dice which could, whatever number he thought of, it could throw that, it would show those numbers. With that, the Kauravas, the Duryodhana, the head of the Kauravas, Duryodhana, defeated Yudhishthira, defeated all the things, whatever the stakes was put, Yudhishthira lost everything to Duryodhana. And apart from the kingdom, other valuables, he also played on his brothers. He also, his brothers and even his wife Draupadi were lost to the Kauravas. Being victorious in this game of dice, Yudhishthira had kept Draupadi also as a stake, and when Duryodhana won this game, Duryodhana had the entire he commanded Dushasana to bring Draupadi to the royal assembly where everybody were seated. He asked Dushasana, because Duryodhana wanted to assassinate the character of Draupadi. He asked Dushasana to bring Draupadi to the royal assembly, ignoring her dignity, honor, everything. Ignoring everything, Dushasana dragged her by the hair into the car. He caught hold of her hair and then pulled her into the court. There, all the men, all the Kaurava 100 princes and all other people with Duryodhana, they were mocking at Draupadi. They were all gazing with all mockery on Draupadi. He attempted to disrobe her also, but Draupadi, humiliated, desperate, and helplessly, she prayed fervently to Lord Krishna. In answer to her prayers, the miracle occurred. Her sari became endless. No matter how much Dushasana pulled, any amount he pulled, the sari would never come to an end. He kept on pulling her hair, pulling her sari, and then it kept on piling up. Exhausted by pulling her sari and defeated, he could not complete his vile act. The assembly, who are all assembled there, stood in like awe. They were all awestruck. They were all condemning Dushasana's cruelty and praising Draupadi's devotion. Yet the damage was done. Draupadi swore to never tie her hair until it was washed in Dushasana's blood. She just took out her hair, removed her hair, and said, "Until I soak this hair with the Dushasana's blood, I will never tie my hair." At the same time, Bhima, among the Pandavas, Bhima was the most furious at the humiliation of Draupadi. He stood in the court. He made a terrifying vow. He promised to tear open Dushasana's chest on the battlefield and drink his blood. If I fail to fulfill this oath, Bhima declared, I shall not face my ancestors in heaven. He declared great, took a vow. All this happened in the court of Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra was a silent witness to all these things. Now, this is a lesson in choices. Dushasana's story is one of a blind loyalty and unchecked jealousy. Instead of choosing the path of righteousness, because of his loyalty to Duryodhana, too much, it covered his judgment. It clouded his judgment, and this led him to make and then commit acts which were very, very heinous acts. His downfall reminds us that our choices shape our destiny and that envy and cruelty only lead to ruin us. This story of Dushasana continues to be a powerful lesson, teaching us to uphold justice, respect others, and never let jealousy dictate our actions. With this lesson, we conclude the story of Dushasana. I hope this story was quite interesting. I request you to please like, share, and then subscribe to my channel. Please post your comments on this video in the comment box. Thank you, viewers, for your valuable time in listening to this story. Thank you.